So, mate, I want to thank you firstly because how this came about. Somebody posted on AgencySavvy and we were having a chat about video and you dived in, and because you know video better than anyone on the planet that I know, and gave a few tips. That, but yeah. Well, I don't know many people. I'm stuck here in my little cave and just not allowed out. Yeah. And you offered to show some of the videos that you've created for your amazing clients, and AgencySavvy went nuts and basically blew up and went, oh my God, that would be amazing. And so now here we are, a whole 2 days later, 11:30 at night in the UK. And you're like, yeah, but I just think this will add value for everyone. I'm like, yes, it will. But it's 11:30 at night. You have a new baby. So thank you for jumping on and doing this for the members.
Of course. Mike, for you, anything. You know that.
You know I love you too, darling. Now, for everybody watching, this is just how we normally talk to each other, okay? It's not weird. It's just become a thing. I don't know where it started.
Just don't tell the wives. That's the only thing I'm asking. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, okay, I've got weird things going through my head now. Let's just do content. Let's not try and turn this into a comedy show because I'll fail at that. So YouTube, it's been your thing for a very long time, and I have referred to you often as the Ogilvy of YouTube because I love the way but I think it's true because you are not focused on the geeky side of YouTube. You have focused very much on the creative and the strategy side, and the world is finally catching up to this. I saw a Google slide recently that said, creative is something like 5 times more valuable than targeting. Now, they've only just put that slide out in the past few months. You've known this for years. The creative is everything. So I believe you're going to cover a little bit of sort of targeting just to set this up properly, and then we're going to talk about creative and look at some examples. Is that
yes?
Right?
Yeah, of course.
As much as you can. Obviously, you've got very confidential information, so everybody will respect that you can't show us everything.
Well, what I thought I'd do is I'd break it down. What I thought I'd do is break it down into how I think about video prior to ever creating it in the first place. Like, so psychology of the customer, what type of customers you're going to be attracting, and how to build an experience for those people. And I'll go through that, and then I'll go into kind of some of the geekiness of like the maths or the science side of the YouTube ads and stuff, and then get into the art side of it as well, and break down one of our videos that's working really, really well right now. Like the example I can give is one that I talk about every now and again from stage, like Tony Policastro, who's like a guitar tutor guy. Yep. Just insanely cool business, and the guys who run it, Levi, who's like the mastermind behind it, is seriously talented as well. So from that standpoint, it's an easy client to work with, but they don't mind me talking about them and bigging them up all the time, which is good. But they create such beautiful stuff, and they like not every client, but you might give them instructions sometimes. But these guys do it to a T. It's like if I say something, they absolutely nail it. Whereas normally I say to a client, okay, this is exactly what I want. And I get something that's vaguely similar to it, which is kind of like the bugbear of any creative is like, you have an idea and then the client butchers it. Yeah. But these guys nail it every time. So what we can talk about is kind of breaking that particular ad that's working really well down to why it's working well. And then hopefully it gives people kind of inspiration as to how to create videos themselves.
Awesome. And I'm so glad you're doing the maths bit, because I remember sitting in a hotel room in San Diego with you either a year ago or maybe 2 years ago. I'm not sure which year you did that show for the first time, or that bit. I think it was last year. And we sat there beforehand and went through the slides, and I was just going, oh my God, this is so good. You've boiled this down to these 4 numbers and which ones. So yeah, stay tuned for that bit, everyone. But yeah, this was going to be about creative, but you get like 3 for the price of 1 here. This is awesome. And the price is free. So, go on then, take us away.
Cool. All right. So let's talk about YouTube ads, and feel free, Mike, at any point just to dive in and say, what the hell are you talking about? Or like whatever.
I'll stay here and unmuted and ask you silly questions every now and again. And if they start drilling upstairs, I'll mute myself and you're on your own for a bit.
Cool. All right. Perfect. And there's screaming kids in the background. That's just what you're going to have to deal with right now.
That's the new normal. So, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Cool. So how to crush it with YouTube ads. I think everyone knows that YouTube's huge. I can't like tell you how many stats there are. These change all the time, but what is 4 billion videos every single second uploaded or something? Probably a bit overkill, that one, but there's a lot. There's a lot happening on YouTube, and it's big, as we all know. So there's over 2 billion users, and there's over 5 billion views a day. But that was like 2 years ago, so it's probably way more now. But this is the bit that's most important to me, is that like the average session duration is over 40 minutes. And apparently it's even more than that now.
Oh, in a lockdown, it's more than that. Yeah.
Yeah, right. And also now it's on TV a lot more prevalently. So like I see the YouTube app on my TV and I watch YouTube on that. And then I'm sure I watch it for much longer. So we're getting used to like YouTube as kind of on par with TV in a way. We're starting to see it in that same light. But the fact that people are sticking around for 40 minutes is amazing. But what I like about the idea of that is that on a mobile or on a desktop, people are going there, getting suckered in and have a huge experience on YouTube. But it's such an individual experience that you're not, like, you don't say, oh, like everyone get around my phone and let's have a watch of this YouTube video. That never happens. Or it might do if something funny happens, like in a 2-minute clip or something. But most of the time you're kind of devouring content that is only interesting to you, and you're kind of watching that content based on your viewership. And the reason I like that so much is because when we're by ourselves, our true selves come out. Like if we're watching TV with the missus, or we're watching TV with friends or family or something, we're aware of the social setting we're in, and we're watching something on TV that everyone likes, and we're having opinions that we're hoping that everyone agrees with in the room. Like there's a social thing going on there. And we behave differently there. But when we get into our own little worlds, we go and watch random stuff that interests us, that we start to allow the kind of unconscious part of us to come out a lot more. And if there's something that grabs your attention, it's grabbing your attention for a reason, because it's interesting to you, which is just a very, very, it's a moment just to yourself, put it that way. And it means that you're much closer to your desires. And when you're closer to your desires without a social setting going on, it's much more likely you're going to make a purchase if you see something that's relevant to you, or at least be very attracted to something that's relevant to you. Like sometimes I go down to like a weird place in YouTube and watching a video that I can't kind of lose attention. I'm just focused on it. And if my wife came in and said, what are you watching? I'll be sometimes embarrassed to say what I'm actually watching. It's not what you're thinking, Mike. It's more kind of
I'm thinking BigQuery. I'm thinking like, I'm going to try watching BigQuery videos with Gab and see how that goes down on the couch. I don't think, no, it's all right. I know.
Precisely. You get what I'm saying though, right? Because if you're watching
it's a great
BigQuery videos, like, if you're watching that and you're like into it, and like the kids came in and say, what are you watching? And you're like, I'm watching it's just cool Netflix thing or something. You know what I mean? You kind of like, you'll make up what you're watching out of pure embarrassment for your own desires. But anyway, so that's kind of like one thing, is that customers going into this kind of this moment sometimes where they're very into what they're into, and if you get the ad in front of it at that point, you're going to do very well from a marketing perspective. But there's also a hidden impact with YouTube. So it is like TV. The fact that it's on TV now as one of the apps on most smart TVs is there. But it's so much more like TV than any other platform that I can think of. Like Facebook is a place where you are seeing ads all the time, but you know, like the experience you have with those is like they're individual companies showing their ads on Facebook. And we're kind of familiar with that. Great platform, works ridiculously well. Lots of people had lots of success with it. Times are changing at all times, but it's not like TV. It's a very different experience. Whereas YouTube is probably the closest thing we have to TV. And when you do that, your mind makes links to what TV is like and what YouTube is like. And there's similarities there. And our heuristic, or kind of our mental shortcut of YouTube is like, if someone's going to the length to put a YouTube video out there, it's as if it's like they've put a TV ad out there. And for that reason, they must be good. That's a jump that we make. Like we make a shortcut. Like if we see a TV ad, we think big business. We think credible business. They must have done something good to get to that point and risk money, spending money on advertising on TV. So it's a kind of, you're cheating the psychology piece a little bit by having an ad on YouTube, because they're like, oh, wow, this company must be good, which is cool. And I'll show you how you can leverage that a little bit more in the videos. But it can take your brand a long way just by riding that. I mean, I haven't mentioned here all the other benefits you get from this. So you'll probably find I don't often talk about this, but you probably see this a lot, Mike. When you start running YouTube ads, you'll probably see your brand search you see a bump in that.
Sometimes a huge bump. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And so there's all these kind of halo effects of having a really good video. And if people remember the video, you're going to see that a lot of people start just Googling you a lot more and looking for products that you provide. So it goes a long way, especially if you can be remembered for the right reasons, of course. So I run a company called Viewability. We're a agency. We're kind of a little bit not agency, in fact, we're kind of a bit un-agency, if that makes sense, because unlike most agencies where it's a percentage of ad spend or a monthly fee, we work on kind of CPA deals. So we'll fund the advertising and clients pay back based on results. The reason I say that is that, well, I've been advertising online for 13 years and this is our 7th year on YouTube ads. I'm rushing through the credibility piece because I'm just like,
everyone knows you,
content.
Everyone knows
exactly, you. But yeah, it's performance-based. And that means like a lot of people look at YouTube as like this brand awareness piece, but we're very focused on direct response and getting $1 to turn to more than $1 at profit and scale as quickly as possible. So we're very familiar with the direct response angle of this. And whilst we can create pretty videos if we wanted to, it's not always the pretty videos that work the best. And that's just so people feel like if you're getting into YouTube, you think, oh, I have to create a beautiful video and all this sort of stuff. And I will show you some beautiful videos because some of our clients create it like that. It's not to say that the beautiful videos always win. You get some pretty ugly videos that work really well. So just as you don't have to be brilliant at video. But there are 3 areas of focus that makes a YouTube ad work really well. And these are the customer targeting, the video creative, and the perfect offer. Now, a lot of the time, the perfect offer piece is like really important for this because a lot of the time, if as an agency, if I go to a client, I think, this industry would kind of work well on YouTube, or this particular niche kind of or niche would work really, really well on YouTube, but they have the wrong offer. Sometimes it's, or they're selling in a way that I don't think it's going to work well with YouTube. Sometimes it's really difficult to get the client to see it because they're doing really well on another platform. And they're like, no, like we're getting loads of conversions from Facebook, for example. I'm like, yeah, but YouTube mentality is slightly different. I'm just not sure it's going to work as cleanly. And we used to have battles with clients for years on like, all right, we just tweak the funnel a little bit and then I think we'll work really well. I'm just not happy to risk making it work with the current funnel as it is. And what we've realized more recently is like, you can stick with the same funnel, however you like, or however you're pitching that offer, but it just might need like an extra piece, like a little bridge prior to going to that offer. And I'll talk about that as well. Okay. So it's not that you have to change the offer. If you've got a good offer happening already, stick with it and just put another piece in front of it just to make sure your YouTube works well with it. But we'll go into that.